Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are here and ready to get into the spooky spirit with you, so I hope you are ready as well. Craftsy is here with 5 days of sweet treats and spine-tingling crafts. They're perfect for a frightfully fun time. Each day this week, our instructors are demonstrating live new Halloween-inspired projects. So make sure to download your free patterns by clicking on the link in the description. Once you get to the patterns page, you want to click the picture of the project it is that you would like to download. Now, if you have any questions during the event, that's what I'm here for. Please leave your comments in the blue chat box below or into the chat on Facebook and YouTube. I'll be keeping an eye on those comments during the event. Since it is a demonstration, if you have a question on the step of the demonstration that is happening right now, I will slide those questions in as best I can when they come. But if you have any more general questions for our instructor, please feel free to drop those into the chat box as well. We usually do have time at the end for a couple of those questions. If you want to try it out, you can go ahead and just say hi. Let us know where you're viewing from and maybe what some Halloween spooky season plans are. What has you excited for this spooky month of October? A couple more things from me before we bring in today's instructor. This is a good one. You want to pay attention to this. We are giving away a free Craftsy Gold membership. Free Craftsy Gold membership. All you need to do is text Halloween to 52056 to enter. Again, you would text Halloween to 52056. We will be contacting a winner after this week's series ends, so you want to make sure to enter by October 9th, 2022. Of course, that's this year. You won't want to wait until next year. So that is all from me. I am ready to introduce today's instructor. We have our master pastry chef, Colette Christian, with us today. I'm very excited for this project, what we'll be baking with Colette. So thank you so much for joining us today, Colette. I would love for you to start us off. Tell us a little bit about yourself and also a little bit about today's project.
Well, Leah, it's great to be here, and I'm Chef Colette. As Leah said, I'm a CMB. I'm a certified master baker, and what that means is I've gone through some grueling certifications that make the TV shows look easy peasy in order to be super knowledgeable, so I can make your baking life better. My whole purpose, that's my purpose. And today, I hope I do that. And I'm so excited that baking is first on the list for these Halloween events, the crafting events. No shade to the other crafts at all, but baking is best. I'm sure all of you who are on the show would agree, who are in the audience. So bakers, what we're going to do today is we are going to make pumpkin macarons. Now, I'm not going to do a deep dive demo in how to make macarons because that's already in my Craftsy class, French Miniature Desserts, and the link is available to that class. It's a great class. It's packed with content, and lesson 4 is all about how to make the macaron, and then to piggyback on what we're doing today, how to customize the macaron. So we're going to make a pumpkin-shaped macaron that has, if you want, it's optional, half of the dry ingredients. Macarons are made with almond flour or almond meal, and almond flour are the same thing. Let's just clarify that right off the top. We're going to do half pumpkin meal. And you might be thinking, how did they do that? Well, this is what it looks like. These are right here. I have a small kitchen so I can reach everything. These are pumpkin seeds that I have ground up in a mini food processor until they're the same texture as the almond meal that we buy when we make our macarons. Or if you're doing any plant-based or gluten-free baking, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So So here's the quick thing. You can, if you want to make a pumpkin seed macaron or a pistachio macaron, you just take out half the almond meal and sub whatever ground nut you want to use. And one last thing, if you can't be bothered grinding your own, and I totally understand, ground pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, and every nut on the planet, I think, is available already ground from online sources, mainly Amazon. All right, so that's what we're doing today. We are going to start with how to pipe a macaron shape. You know, we see a lot of things on the internet, beautiful macarons piped. I even not too long ago, my daughter-in-law sent me a photo of macarons shaped as cute little corgi butts with cute little tails. And, you know, you think, how do they do that? Well, a good template helps. And speaking of family, my son, who is an animator, designed this template for our class. And there is it's available in the class materials. So you'll be able to download and print your own. Now, I line the sheet tray with my templates, and I actually bake them. The oven is only going to 325 degrees, so we don't have to worry about the paper burning. But if it does worry you, you can remove them, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm using parchment paper, and it is cut to fit the bottom of the pan. All right, so there we go. I have batter already made. Look at our pretty orange macaron batter. This is fitted with a number 12 tip. That would be a Wilton 12. If you have other piping tips, you see that diameter? It's small. For fine, intricate work, we want a relatively small, plain, round tip. All right? So what I'm going to do is this. See these cute little pumpkins with their little green tops? I'm going to show you how to pipe this. Okay? And what we're going to do is I like to start at the top and work my way down. And you're just going to follow in the lines. And then I want to be able to do this to camera so you can see. So I just kind of fill it in. And then I relax pressure and I slide off. Now I am doing this upside down. It is easier if you do it right side up, but I want to make sure you can see, because it's not about me, it's about you and your baking success. All right. So I just follow, and that's why I'm so happy with this template, because the lines are so strong and so well defined. Now we have one all ready to go in the oven, so I'm not going to pipe this whole tray. But now you might be wondering, well, how do I get the green top? How did you do that? Well, let me show you. I'll get rid of this and get a little bit of a bowl. All I'm going to do is take some of this batter and put green food color in it. You know, the tops of pumpkins, and when you look at them, the stem of the pumpkin is kind of green and kind of orange. So we don't have to worry about like having macaron batter that's dead white that then we have to tint green. And I'm using Wilton leaf green right here, good old Wilton. Other brands work fine, but remember, for your macarons, you want gel color, not liquid color from the supermarket. That's fine for your Easter eggs, but not for this. And you might be thinking, why? And the reason is gel color has the least amount of water activity, and so it doesn't throw off our macaron. So there we go, everyone. I got the green color in there, and it's kind of like perfect. If a little bit of the orange kind of fades through, that's fine, because again, next time you go to the pumpkin patch, you go to the supermarket, pumpkins are everywhere. Look at that stem and you'll be like, yeah, she was right. Okay, now you can use, in order to pipe you can use a small piping bag. But if you've taken several Craftsy classes, especially on piping, you may already know how to make a parchment paper cone, one of these. And I think I have a little, I have a template for this in my class, French Pastry Shop Classics. And I'm just going to put this, but that's how easy getting the, just getting the green. Nothing, no hoops to jump through, no real challenges here. Now, making multicolored macarons or cute little corgi tails, that would be another live to show you how to get those colors. All right, now watch. Let me just adjust this. So you can be fancy and you can just pipe like this. Just pipe the stem. Just pipe the stem. That's fine. And then as you warm up, pumpkins, sometimes the stem kind of comes on top of the pumpkin. So you could go across the pumpkin and back and then up. You just don't want to scrape the paper. You want to have a little bit of it needs to have some body. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'll show you what we don't want to do. We don't want to drag it. That's not going to do us any good at all. It needs to be the same, pretty much the same as the macaron that we just piped. All right. So now I'm going to clear this away. Okay. Put this over here. We don't need this anymore. So put the cap on the color. And magic of TV. Here's our piped macarons, and they have been drying for 40 minutes. Now, there's a lot of information on macarons now. When I started out, there was very, very little, which is one of the reasons I made macarons my mission, so much so that I wrote a book on them. And it's called Mastering Macarons, Classic to Contemporary Techniques. And there's 5 different methods for making macarons in the book. Anyway, I digress. So that macarons have to sort of set and dry before we bake them. If they don't, they're all going to crack, because we need a little surface tension on the top of our macaron to sort of hold in the steam, because what's happening, the only thing that's lifting these off the surface is the steam created by the moisture in the batter. And so as the macarons heat up, so if we don't have that surface tension, pop, they crack. So these are dried beautifully. And as my segue about everything that's on the internet these days about macarons, you'll get some advice about poking them to see if they're set. No. Just look at them. They're going to go from shiny. Let's take a look. Look, you see the difference? Whoops. These are shiny. These are dull. And I did an experiment yesterday. If you watch my class, I'm like, don't let them dry more than an hour. All right, which is true. But yesterday I decided to see what would happen if you let them sit out for 2 hours. They baked up fine. They didn't crack, but they had less of a foot. So dry them until they look dull. Depending on where you are, it can take anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, and don't go longer than 60. One thing about the foot, and you're like, foot? What is this foot? Let me show you. I have stuff everywhere. Oh my God. I wish you were right here with me. You'd be like, wow, this kitchen is packed. So the foot is this little right here. See this kind of rough edge? That is what is created when the cookie lifts off the steam, lifts the cookie off the baking tray. All right, deep yoga breath. Woo! I'm going to slide these into a 325-degree preheated oven, of course, and I'm going to set the timer for 13 minutes. Okay. And one
Colette.
last. Yes.
Oh, go ahead. We do have some questions, but I'll let you finish your thought before I jump in.
Okay. It's an actual quick thought. Now, if you're thinking, bakers, I cannot be bothered with those pumpkins, you can make them regular macarons, and then just to dress them up, dust them with a little bit of the pumpkin dust. And yeah, these are dry and they're dull and they're ready to be baked after the pumpkins come out of the oven. And you know what? I forgot to set that timer. Oh my goodness. All right, we're good now. Okay, Leah, fire away.
All right, quick hellos to everybody that is joining us. We've got quite a few people saying hi, letting us know where they're viewing from in the comments. We love that. Keep that coming. We have some questions. Actually, both of the questions that I have for you are going all the way back to the ingredients list. So
Okay.
Jessica P has our first one, and she wants to know if it is possible to sub all of the almond meal for another nut or another seed. So Jessica is allergic to almonds, but other nuts are fine. What would you recommend?
Well, she has to. She has to. So that's not really a choice thing. So the only thing that she might find, and it was Jessica, right, Leah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jessica, the one thing you might find if you go all hazelnut, all pistachio, the reason we use almonds is because almonds are they have the least amount of oil in them. So other nuts have more oil. So let's think of it this way. Almonds at the low oil spectrum, macadamia nuts and cashews, full on, right? So that oil, everything would be the same. The method would be the same. You want to get yourself a cute little food processor to grind everything up, or a big one, but this is my little guy for macarons. The only thing, that extra oil, you may see the ghost. This is a Halloween bake, by the way. So you may see the ghost of teeny tiny pin-topped oil droplets on the surface. Let me show you. They would be just on the surface, but trust me, no one will look that hard. And so I say go for it. And if you have any, just substitute whatever nut is your favorite, but not too oily. I have not had good luck with cashews or macadamia nuts for macarons, at least here where I am. So go for it. And if you have any questions, just reach out and let me know.
All right, now let's move to the other half of the half and half on your ingredients. Erin's got a question about the pumpkin. So Erin wants to know if you can use seeds from a fresh pumpkin, or are they too woody even if you roast them first?
Leah, I knew this. Okay, Halloween, ghost, psychic. I knew this question was going to happen. I have not tried it, but my concern is commercially roasted pumpkin seeds. They're dried out and roasted. There's a drying process that we don't quite go through. And that woodiness and the extra fiber, like these are very carefully cleaned. Not that we wouldn't clean ours at home, right? Don't get me wrong. But I would be afraid of moisture, and I would be afraid of woodiness. And I'm not sure if you could grind them fine enough. But, and this is a perfect segue to my advice that I always give with mastering macarons. You can always do a half recipe. So if you're making your jack-o'-lanterns and roasting your pumpkin seeds, it's not really we're not wasting a ton of ingredients. Why not give it a try? And then please, if it works, please reach out and let me know. And then if you've tossed them with some spices, that could be kind of interesting too. So I say give it a try with a half recipe, because I don't want you to waste all the ingredients of a full recipe.
All right. Fantastic answers. Erin said thank you for the insight. So much appreciated. Quick reminder from me before I send it back over to Colette. If you are just joining us and you're wondering where these questions are coming from, they are coming from the chat box. It's below your video player on the website, or you can use the chat on Facebook or YouTube, wherever it is that you're watching us from. So keep the questions coming. I'll get them to Colette whenever we get another chance. And then Colette, before you jump into your next step, will you let us all know where it is that you're baking from? Where are you located?
I am in Los Angeles, so I'm Hollywood adjacent. I wish I could say I'm coming to you live from the heart of Hollywood, but I'm not. I am in LA I'm on the west side of Los Angeles. It's beautiful. It's sunny. Typical. We're grateful.
All right. Thank you. Back to you for the next step in the process.
All righty. So we have 7 minutes before we check the macarons that are in the oven. And so I'm going to just clear my board. And now we're going to talk about fillings. Typically, in France, Ganache is used to fill macarons. Sometimes you get a fruit filling or a lovely fruit gelée, but it is here in the States where we, more often than in Europe, where we will make a buttercream to fill our macarons. So to cover all the bases, I'm going to show you how to make a milk chocolate ganache. And then I'm going to show you how to make an egg-free buttercream. It's got a couple of names. I'm going to start quickly with the milk chocolate ganache. Now, ganache must be made ahead for best results. Make it the night before and let it sit up. Yeah, let it sit up. No, let it set up. I am so sorry, you guys. I may have had too much coffee this morning. Anyhow, so you're going to make it the night before and you're going to let it set up. This is a milk chocolate ganache, which is yummy, but milk chocolate has milk solids in it. So the ratio ganache is cream, heavy cream, and chocolate. When we're working with milk chocolate and white chocolate, this is also in my French miniature dessert class, spelled out. When we're working with white or milk chocolate, we reduce that cream by half. So normally when we make like a semi-sweet or bittersweet ganache, we have 50% dark chocolate, 50% cream. Well, if we did that with milk and white chocolate, it would never set up. So we have to do a little pre-melt of our milk chocolate before we add the cream. So I have it ready. And here I have actually used, I don't know if you have a Trader Joe's near you, you can use milk chocolate chips. This is the Pound Plus brand that I've cut up. You can use any milk chocolate from the baking aisle. Be very careful when you buy your chocolate for baking if you're in the candy aisle, because candy companies add emulsifiers and different flavorings to their chocolate to make it super flavorsome. Remember, we're combining this chocolate with our own flavors and our own combinations. So I know for my culinary students, when we get to chocolate lesson, I have to be very specific with them. So I want to underscore that for you bakers as well. You want to buy your chocolate from the chocolate aisle. If you're buying it from online sources, make sure it says for baking. All right. So, sorry, microwave noise. 30 seconds at high power. I'm going to use the microwave for this everything today, as much as I can. And I'm going to also heat up. So this is actually, I made 3/4 of a recipe. So this is 6 ounces of the milk chocolate and then 3 ounces of cream in. Oh my God, I have the most annoying microwave on the planet. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh. All right, so now it's just a little bit of, and if I kept it in the bowl, that would be great. I swear I drop something on the floor every live demo. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir, and I'm just heating up the cream. And this is a pumpkin spice milk chocolate ganache. So I have my pumpkin spice here. Buy it now. If you're buying pumpkin spice for your holiday baking, it's just, oh, there we go. It's just hitting the stores now. And I think it might be one of those things that's in short supply. I'm just doing a quick temperature check so I don't, I might have to heat this up a little bit more. Yeah, we're not quite there. The pumpkin spice is optional, but it definitely keeps with our theme. So I'm going to just add it when I add the cream. And your cream should be at a low boil. So if you're on the stove, just kind of a low simmer. If you're microwaving, you want to see steam. Oh, Leah, I want to tell our bakers that if they want to make their own pumpkin spice, let's say you can't find it, you want to use 3 parts cinnamon to 1 part nutmeg to 1/2 part of ginger. And that should be pretty close.
Colette, you're reading my mind. I was going to ask you exactly that when you had a moment.
Well, see, we're so Halloweened, it's not even funny. We are on a supernatural baking plane today.
Yes.
So now I've got the cream, the pumpkin spice, and then the milk chocolate, and I'm whisking until it's smooth. If you have an immersion blender, like a stick blender, you could use that. And then I'm going to show you a pastry chef trick that I know if you watch my classes, I do it all the time. You're going to be like, I cannot believe she's pulling that old chestnut out of her tool bag, but it's so useful. All right, beautiful, nice, smooth ganache. If troubleshooting, the chocolate doesn't fully melt, put it in the microwave for like 10 seconds. and then re-whisk. It will melt. If you don't have a microwave, you'll set up a little double boiler with about 1 inch of water. I'm going to take a hammer to this microwave one day. And you're just going to flash it for like 10 seconds over the simmering water, and then you're going to stir. So you see, we have a fix for everything. So this is my pastry chef trick. This is a little tiny baking tray, and in the professional baking world, this would very seriously be called an 1/8 sheet pan, because, oh my God. Oh, I'm yelling at the microwave. That's our macarons. Oh my God. Hold on, macarons. So in the professional baking world, this is an 1/8 sheet pan. And you can find these, like Web Restaurant Store has them. You can also find them on Amazon for quick chilling, like pastry cream and ganache. Really, really great. So, and because in a professional pastry kitchen, we don't put bowls in the fridge. We need our bowls, and we need the room. So I've just lined it with a piece of plastic wrap. Hold on, hold that thought. Ooh, the macarons are looking great. And then I'm going to, now if I weren't, I had more time, I would scrape this very lovingly, but I don't want to waste time. And then I'm just going to I'm going to take the plastic wrap, fold it over just like this. It's a little package of ganache, and I'm going to pop this in the fridge to set up. I would do
Perfect.
that the night. Go ahead.
I'm going to hop in a moment here, Colette. Go ahead and finish your thought, and then I've got a reminder for everybody.
I was just going to say, and then it can stay overnight in the refrigerator. And then as I was setting up to finish my, reset. So the ganache stays in the refrigerator overnight because it's milk chocolate ganache. And as I said, it's a little bit softer, even with the milk solids in the milk chocolate, even though we reduce the cream. So about 2 hours before you we're going to finish your macarons, you would take it out and let it warm up at room temperature. Now, what consistency are you looking for? You are looking for a consistency that's like Nutella. Or if you've ever seen canned frosting, it's that consistency. That's what we're looking for. Okay? All right, Leah.
All right, so we had a question that I'm sure is not just a question that one of our viewers has. I'm sure many of them do. So at the beginning of today's live event, I mentioned a free Craftsy Gold membership that we'll be giving away. And in order to be eligible for that, you're going to text the word Halloween to 52056, and that is going to go right up here in your text, where you would put your contact information if you were sending a text just to your friend or your mom or anything. Instead of to mom, instead of to Jessica, you're going to just put that 52056 right into your text and send the word Halloween to that text. I know it's not an entire long phone number, but it is a text line. So that's where you'll be sending that to, the word Halloween to 52056. And you want to make sure to send that text before October 9th. We will be contacting the winner after this week's series ends. So that's a reminder for everybody. Geraldine had that question specifically, but I'm sure, Geraldine, you are not alone. So I hope that helps everybody. I'm going to go back to Colette for some more macarons right now.
Excellent. Please, you guys, text away. Make sure a Craftsy Gold membership is gold. All right. So our macarons are done. And this is how we test for doneness. Number one, the top of the macaron is stable. If it slides back and forth, then they need 1 to 2 more minutes. Also, they peel away clean from the side, from the bottom of the pan. They have not taken on any sort of a tan or suntan. They're the same shade as we piped. These sat for 40 minutes. And then this is one that I actually drew on with some edible marker. I'll talk about that in a moment. But I want to show you, let's see. We got a little bit more of a foot when they didn't sit. The 2-hour foot is shorter than the normal, like here in my kitchen, the usual 40-minute piping to looking dull. All right. So now, Leah, any questions on that ganache before I go on to the maple icing?
No questions on the ganache yet. I will keep an eye out if any come in, but I think we are good to move on to the maple.
Okay, great. So this is a cooked icing, and it's really old-fashioned. If you dug into your grandmother's Fanny Farmer cookbook, you'd find it. And the great thing about it is it has no eggs. So we don't have the foodborne illness worries. It's a little bit more stable, but it's got more flavor, and it's not as sweet as what we call an American buttercream, which is butter and powdered sugar put together. It's been my experience that most adults find like American buttercream too sweet. So I'm really happy to offer to show you how to do this one. It's great for cakes and cupcakes, and it is pretty stable. It's pretty stable, like your product. If anybody does cakes, and if you've used a Swiss or Italian buttercream, and the cake is at an event and it's hot, and the buttercream just shears off the side of the cake. Yes, that has happened to me. This one doesn't do that, so it's good. All right, but the first thing, we do have a little pre-work that we have to do, and I'm going to use the stove behind me, but I'm going to let you know what I'm doing. But the most important thing, and this is entirely on me, when I proofread our class materials, I missed a typo. All right. Again, my fault. It should read 165 grams of butter. It reads 15, but it should read 165, which is a stick and about another half a stick of butter, and I'm using unsalted butter. Okie doke. All right. Here we go. And I apologize for that. It will never happen again. So I'm going to make my base. So I have 100 and by the way, if you were going to use this, if you like that, you make this and you're like, this is a great buttercream, you can scale this up. You can double or triple it very easily. So I've got my milk in the pan, and I'm going to bring it to a low boil. But before I turn on the heat, I'm going to add my flour. For this size batch, it's 28 grams of flour. Now, if you have a pan with a rounded bottom like this, use that one. For a while, I was stuck on this straight-sided pan, and I was having trouble getting the whisk in the corner. So just a subtlety. Baking is all about the subtleties. All right, I'm turning on my heat, coming back into frame so you guys don't lose me. And I'm going to start whisking. So it's kind of like making a roux. If you ever make like lasagna with white sauce or macaroni and cheese, very, very similar. So this is our base. And this buttercream, we're flavoring it with maple, but we can flavor it lots of different ways. So again, this is done ahead. We need this to chill at least 30 minutes before we finish the buttercream. You're going to need your stand mixer or your handheld mixer and both the paddle and whisk attachments. So everything on deck. Well, I guess the dough hook can sleep in the corner, but you're going to need the whisk and the paddle.
Colette, while you're whisking, can you refresh for us the recipe to make your own pumpkin spice again? What were those parts?
Sure. 3 parts cinnamon, 1 part nutmeg, to 0.5 of a part of ginger. And if you've got allspice and cloves hanging around, you can pinch them in. Now you can adjust it. Let's say you're not a big nutmeg fan. Reduce it. Make your own custom blend, but just know that pumpkin spice is a blend of cinnamon, nutmeg, ground ginger, and a little bit allspice and clove. It's really fun to make your own spice blends. Then when people say, wow, this is good, what brand are you using? You can say, mine. All right, so now we're ready. This is a really nice, smooth flour and milk paste. And let me some of that, of course, everything spills out. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to add sugar. And I wanted to do this, you're off heat, but this is a real lesson in what sugar does. Can you guys see this liquefy? So as sugar melts, it liquefies, which is why we have to pay close attention to our sugar ratios in baking. We can't just invent. We can't take away or add, because this is what sugar does once it's subjected to heat. Again, nice and smooth as possible. I believe it is 14 grams of vanilla, and then maple syrup. If you had maple sugar, and a pinch of salt. If you have maple sugar, I would recommend using it in place of the sugar. All right, and then remember how we set it up for how we set up the ganache? You would set this up exactly the same. But of course I have magic of TV. Look, this sets up to this when it's been in the refrigerator for a minimum of 30 minutes. If it's longer, it's not going to hurt it, okay? So this is all you have to do, I really recommend, when you're setting up your baker's equipment, get yourself some good restaurant grade baking trays if you don't already have them. And some of these smaller sizes like this and like this quarter sheet, you'll use them all the time. Trust me. I don't work for Nordic Ware, but I probably could. All right. So now that this is done, Magic of TV, and it's been in the fridge for a minimum of 30 minutes, we're going to start making our maple buttercream. And so we've got the stand mixer. We're going to start with the paddle attachment. And we are going to, I have room temperature butter. All right. That's going in. Okay. And I'm just going to mix this until everything is nice and smooth. You want to have your spatula close by. depending on how soft your butter is, it won't take long. So that's what we're looking for right there, okay? So now the recipe says to add the base, we're just going to call it the base, in 1/2 cup increments. So that's about half of it. So with this setup, I'm going to squeeze in some, put it back on my tray. It gets kind of messy, but that's okay. And I'm going to mix this in for about a minute. And I'm on medium speed. That would be a timed minute for you because you won't be live. And you're going to scrape down. And then I'm going to add the rest.
Colette, while you're adding that, Bernadette had a question about the base. Do you use whole milk for that, or can you use lower fat?
Oh, God. I thought that question would come in too. So you can use low fat. You could even make this vegan.
Oh, okay.
You could use a plant-based butter. Either one, I know folks are making their own, or I'm currently teaching a plant-based baking class at the culinary school that I teach at Escoffier. And so I've been thinking a lot about plant-based. So you could use like almond milk for your milk. And then the butter would be like Earth Balance, or lately I tried Country Crock plant-based sticks. Pretty good. So yes, whole milk, 2% skim, almond, soy. I don't work a lot with rice, so I don't know. I work mostly with almond milk because the phytoestrogens in soy milk frighten me. I've had I've had breast cancer a lot, so I stay away from any phytoestrogens because you never know. You never know. Like what's good, what's bad. All right, once that base is fully incorporated, I'm going to scrape down and I'm going to switch to the whisk attachment. And then we're just going to let it rip. Okay. Now here's a little tip for you. If you need to clean your paddle, right, it gets kind of messy, you can take your small offset spatula, which is just standing idly by, and you can get a really good scrape on your paddle. I probably told you guys I had a friend who worked on Martha Stewart's baking show, and that's how Martha does it, or did it. I don't know what she's doing now. But so I pass that on to you guys. So now we're switching to the whisk attachment. And now you're going to time. I have some already done, so I may not go because we're in class, we're live. This is going to be a timed 4 minutes on 3/4 speed, which on a 10-speed stand mixer would be 8, or 3/4 if you don't have number speeds. So let's just do it. Oh, and mixers have different motors, like the different strength motors. So you guys know your mixer. If you're like, oh, Colette, my mixer at 3/4 is just not strong enough, then go to high speed. You're going to have to stop and scrape down often. And then if you're working with your hand mixer, make sure your bowl is stabilized and take plenty of breaks so that your arm doesn't fall off. Okay? All right. So that would be a 4 time minutes. And this is what we get. This is a really lovely buttercream. And again, no egg, not terribly sweet. It's got nice mouthfeel from the dairy. And even when made plant-based, it's still got a really nice mouthfeel. It's the texture is good. And you can flavor this. You can make it chocolate. We did the maple, but yeah, really versatile. Takes to food color really well. So
Hey,
a
Colette,
win, a definite win.
how does it store? Linda wants to know if she were to double the buttercream recipe, would it be able to be stored in the refrigerator or the freezer? And if so, how long?
It'll keep in the fridge. Excellent question. It'll keep in the fridge for 1 week, in the freezer for 2 months. You
All
would
right.
thaw it overnight in the refrigerator, even if you pulled it out like a day before, because you know how when butter freezes, it's pretty solid. And then you just thaw it in the fridge. And then the trick with any kind of buttercream that you have stored, you guys, you can pull it out a few hours before you want to use it, let it sit at room temperature. And then when you open it up, if it's this kind of softened butter consistency, you can just paddle it with a spatula, kind of like I'm doing in this little tiny container. Kind of feels a little funny, but if we can thaw to this consistency, we don't have to put it in the mixer and start that whole dog and pony show of trying to bring back buttercream. The trick is to let it sit out for a couple hours at room temperature. And I've done it where I've pulled it out when I got up in the morning, hit the coffee button, pulled out my buttercream, and I didn't do my cake until like noontime. And I was able to get this lovely buttercream. But you must stir it. You must take a spatula and mix it, because there's kind of a natural sponginess that happens when we store buttercreams. We have to get that out, because that'll ghost us. It'll show up on the side of a cake or piped onto your, again, my cake people, you know exactly what I mean. We want to get a nice smooth consistency, so our masking and our piping is beautiful. Okay, now let's put some macarons together and we're almost done.
All right, I'm going to send, as you're getting set for the very last, we only have a little more than 5 minutes left. So if you do have a question for Colette, you can drop it into the chat box. If we have time, we will get to those, but it is time to bring it on home. Go ahead, Colette.
Oh, I just wanted to say really quickly, this is super quick. I have ganache in a piping bag with no tip. I have the maple buttercream in just a tiny little open star tip. That's up to you guys. And then I took, there's a couple brands of edible markers. This is called Food Writer. And I just had fun last night drawing on my macarons. And if you ever want to keep your children busy, give them a batch of macarons and those markers, and they will be busy for a long time. You could also, if it's a fun girls' night too, rosé and drawing on macarons. We're all, so those are some suggestions. Okay, so now whenever, what the rule for filling your macarons is to make sure the sizes are the same. Now we are piping by hand. We're not machines, so just know that you may have a little bit of variation. And I decorated both sides. I've never been the kind of artist or pastry chef that left the back side clean or empty, because what if somebody turns that over? So what you're going to do is you're going to line them up, and I'll just do a couple because we're severely time challenged. And then I pick the one that's the prettiest. That's my topper. And then you're just going to, usually I'm perpendicular, right? And you have choice. You can pipe on the edge, to the middle, or you can pipe in the middle and go to the edge. But we want to see the filling. However, we're going to put this topper on and we're going to press down a little bit. So that's good. We don't want to overfill. They're like, the French say, they're like little hamburgers. Well, they kind of are. Let me do one with the ganache, and then Leah, throw me some last minute questions and we'll wrap this up.
All right. Well, Patricia has one about the buttercream. Would that be good for piping flowers if you wanted to use it for that?
Patricia, dead honest, I have never tried. So I recommend this is a small batch. Give it a try, and then, let me know. I would love to know how it works, and that's something I should try with my leftover buttercream. Ooh, look at that ganache. Isn't that just so shiny and gorgeous? Really, really beautiful. Now, after you fill them, chill them for an hour. Let the filling set up before you serve them. Really, really important. They'll warm up quick. Don't worry about it. And leftover macarons pretty much should go in the refrigerator.
Okay, well, that is all of the, go ahead.
Just last thing, they're at their best for about 3 days. And then that sugar begins to attract moisture, and they might be great for a late night snack, but you wouldn't serve them for company.
All right, perfect. Well, Colette, I'm going to let you share any final thoughts you have, because we don't have any last minute questions that have come in. And then don't turn us off until you get a few reminders from me for the rest of the week. So Colette first, and then I'll see you on the other side. Go ahead, Colette.
Thank you, Leah. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you all for joining us here on our first Halloween crafting event. I hope you're inspired to make macarons, maybe check out French miniature desserts and watch my extended, beautifully shot demo on how to make them. You can find me on Instagram at BakingWColette, and on Saturdays I have a live show at noon Pacific called The Dough Doctor, where I answer all your baking questions. You can find that information on social media, BakingWColette. I post all the time. And my website is bakingwithcolette.com. I'll be back soon, I hope, with another live demo. And I really hope, again, that you're inspired, because that's my mission. Thank you, everyone.
Well, we have a lot of thanks in the comments already for you, Colette. So thank you for sharing your expertise and all of your tips. Colette did mention a couple things throughout today's live event. Those links to those Craftsy classes, you can find those in the chat box. So if she said something that sparked your interest and you want to jump in on those, go ahead and search through the chat box. Those links are available for you, as well as the link to today's recipe, the template that Colette used to pipe, and all of the information for all of this week's Craftsy series. So we are starting tomorrow at noon Central for our next live event. We've kicked things off today with Colette. We'll be streaming live tomorrow with Emily Steffen, and Emily is going to provide a live tutorial on making Halloween surprise balls. So they can be used for party favors, giveaway treats, or place settings. So we'll be making a bat, a mummy, a pumpkin, and a spider, so something for everybody to round out this cute Halloween surprise ball collection. And you can download the materials list and instructions right now using the link in the description before tomorrow's event. At any point, you can come back, you can watch Colette do this demo, you can access Colette's recipe or any of the projects we're doing all week long by just coming back to the link. These things will be available for you for much time to come. They live forever on the website, so don't be worried if you missed something. Come back and catch it later. In the meantime, you'll find the entire mini-series schedule in the video description. So we hope to see you tomorrow. On behalf of Colette and the entire Craftsy team, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you for some more spooks soon.